Yes, good afternoon and welcome to the November 18th virtual meeting of Chatham's Historic Business District Commission. My name is Daniel Silver. Hopefully this meeting will unfold as follows. The first thing we'll do is take a roll call of the members. As soon as that is done, our first order of business will be the minutes. We'll approve those and move right on to the applications. When our clerks read your application, we ask that you speak up, let your presence be known, give a brief synopsis of what your proposed project is, and then we'll turn it over to the members for comments and questions. All right, so as I said, the first order of business will be a roll call of the members who are present, and we'll be reviewing and approving the applications. We'll start with Darcy, our vice chair.
Darcy Sequin is here.
Okay, our clerk, Sam Stribert.
Sam Stribert is here.
Okay, our regular member, Bob Burns.
Bob Burns is here.
Okay, our first alternate, Doug Grattan.
Doug Grattan is here.
And our second alternate is Steve DuBois.
Steve DeBoer is online.
There he is. Okay, all right. As I said, so we got everybody here, Sarah. And also, obviously, Sarah's with us, Central Permitting Coordinator. First order of business, as I said, was the approval of the minutes, and those are of November 4th.
Dan, we do just need to read the governor's
Oh,
order.
I'm sorry. I keep forgetting about that, Sarah.
No problem. It's okay.
Okay, so before we do the minutes, Sarah is going to read the governor's directive concerning these virtual meetings. Sorry, Sarah. Didn't mean to cut you off.
No problem. Please note this meeting is being recorded and will be available shortly hereafter for scheduled and on-demand viewing on any smartphone or tablet device. If anyone else is recording this meeting, please notify the chairman. Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 order spanning certain provisions of the Open Meeting Law, General Law 30A, Section 18, and the Governor's March 23, 2020 order imposing strict limitations on the number of people that may gather in one place, this meeting of the Historic Business District Commission is being conducted via remote participation. No in-person attendance of the members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings as provided for in the order. As a reminder, that persons who would like to listen to this meeting while in progress may do so by calling the phone number 1-508-945-4410, conference ID 216-072-274#. Despite our best efforts, we may not be able to provide for real-time access, and we will post a record of this meeting on the town's website as soon as possible.
Well, thank you very much, Sarah. That was an excellent demonstration as to why there are 5 members and at least 1 member of the staff here to keep the chairman in line. So as I said, the first order of business will be the approval of the minutes, and those were of November 4th. So we'll start off with comments from the members. Sam, any comments?
No comments on the minutes, no.
Okay, Darcy?
No comments.
Bob?
Bob Burns, no comments.
Doug?
Doug Grattan, no comments.
Steve?
I have no comments.
Neither does Dan Silver have any comments. So are we looking for a motion?
Doug Grattan will make a motion. We accept the minutes as presented.
Darcy Sequin will second it.
All right, motion has been made and seconded. Further discussion? No. Darcy, you're all set?
All set.
Sam?
All set.
Bob?
All set.
Doug?
All set.
Steve?
I have no further questions.
Okay, then we'll vote. Darcy?
Darcy Sequin votes in favor.
Sam?
Sam Stribert votes in favor.
Bob?
Bob Burns in favor.
Doug?
Doug Grattan in favor.
Steve?
Steve DeBoer is in favor.
Dan Silver in favor as well. Thank you. We got those out of the way. Thank you, folks, for a good set of minutes. All right, now, Sam, our first application.
Yes, there's a site improvement application 20-98, Tom Taylor, application to relocate the dumpster enclosure on the property located at 20 Chatham Bars Avenue.
All righty, do we have an applicant? Do I have the applicant here tonight?
Yes, you
I think
do.
we do.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes,
Hi,
sir.
guys. How are you?
Well, thank you. And yourself, what's up?
So after reviewing the original drawings that had the dumpster enclosure at 20 Chatham Bars Ave, we were looking at just the location of it. And if you look at a couple of the pictures, the existing approved location kind of blocks the neighbor's parking spot that's been there for probably a lot longer than I have. So that was one of the concerns I had, that as we're making friends with some of the neighbors in the neighborhood nowadays, I'm not looking to upset them or, start anything. So I just felt that the location wasn't in the premier area that it could be in. And if you look at the plan approved location, to the right-hand side, you can see a small little concrete slab that also has a couple of Tim Millie's dumpsters there, where as if we put our location where the plan approved it, he's going to have a hard time maneuvering to get the neighbors' 2 containers out of there. So my suggestion was the proposed new location, which is, if you look inside that fenced area right there, stop at that one, right inside where that fence is sitting down, because some of that section of fence is coming off. We were gonna put it on the inside of that fenced area on an angle, so that way Tim can like drive right in, pull in, pick it up, and then just come out with the with the waste. And then attached, yeah, that's the new location. Attached is, as requested, the hardware that would be using for the enclosure, along with the cedar fence. I sent pictures of the cedar fence, what it will look like around the dumpster enclosure. Now, just to let you know, the cedar fence will match the same fence I am putting in 45 Chatham Bars Ave, which is across the street at the bowling alley. So that's the location. That's a new proposed location I'm looking to stick it in, on the one that he just sent.
Okay, let's see what the commission members have to say about it.
Yep.
Sam, can we start with you?
Sure. I have no concerns about the new location. It looks like it's not parallel with the fence. Is there a reason?
Well, the only reason why I put it on a little bit of an angle was because I figured with the size of the container, the Tim Millie's dumpster trucks, I wanted them to be able to get in there fairly easy, because that easement, believe it or not, houses quite a few parked cars as well. The ice cream, I don't know, I forget the owner's names that own the ice cream store there as part of the district. They park back there, plus a couple of other neighbors. So that looked like the most ideal location for Tim to be able to pull right in, grab the dumpster, pull it out, dump it, and then back right out of the property without affecting any of the neighbors.
But there's a fence that goes around this huge dumpster, right?
Yeah, yes, there's going to be an enclosure, and part of that old stockade fence will come down, so it's just not down yet. Yes, correct.
And the enclosure will be perpendicular to the existing fence?
Yeah, a little bit. It'll be on a little bit of an angle, but yes, it's going to be pretty much parallel with the existing fence, correct?
Perpendicular.
Yeah.
Well, what we wanted to do is to look like it always was there and it belonged that way. And if you put things at too many angles, it looks out of whack. It looks done wrong.
Yeah. Understood.
So just make it big enough so that it can do the work that you need it to do.
Okay. That's fine.
All right, Darcy?
Darcy Sequin, I have no concerns.
Okay. Robert?
Tom, one question. Where
Sure.
where that parked SUV is up in the lot there to the right, are those the dumpsters that will be moved to the new area?
No, so that's the owners of that building dumpster, and that was one of the reasons why I wanted to move it, because I don't think Tim Millie's going to be able to make that turn if I didn't, because if you look at the the drawing where they want to do it, I don't know if he's going to make that turn to be able to supply and support the neighbors' containers. So if I put it in the proposed location, it won't even affect them. He'll be able to pick up theirs plus pick up mine as well. So that's kind of one of the reasons why I was requesting this.
Yeah, and how many will it hold?
But I'm only putting one.
No, how many containers, how many dumpster containers will be in there?
Oh, on the neighbors?
No, the ones you're putting into the
Oh,
proposed.
just one. I'm just going to put one. So it's like an 8x8 enclosure.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
just one, and it has to be fenced in. That's why we're using the cedar fence. But it's one dumpster, and that's it, just to enclose it. So it's an 8x8, or it could even be a 6x6. I apologize. I don't have the size in front of me. Let me look at the drawing real quick.
no, it's okay. I have no further questions.
Okay.
Okay,
It's
Doug?
Doug Ratton, I have no concerns or questions. I like the change.
Okay.
Thank you.
Steve?
I have no questions. I think it's a good idea if it makes things easier for everyone.
Yeah, Dan Silver, I think it's cleaning things up a bit, so. Alrighty, do we have a motion?
Doug Ratton will make a motion for site improvement application 20-098, Tom Taylor, application to relocate the dumpster enclosure on the property located at 20 Chatham Bars Avenue.
Darcy Sequin will second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion and second. Further question amongst commission members. One last chance. Darcy?
Darcy Sequin has no questions.
Okay, Sam?
No questions.
Bob?
Burns, no questions.
Doug?
Doug Ratton, no questions.
Steve?
I have no other questions.
Oh, neither does Dan Silver. Very good. Ready to vote, folks? Darcy?
Darcy votes in favor.
Okay, Sam?
Sam Starbert votes in favor.
Robert?
Bob Burns in favor.
Doug?
Doug Ratton in favor.
Steve?
Steve DeBoer is in favor.
Dan Silver's in favor as well. Very good. Excellent. Nice work, gentlemen. Thank you. And ladies and gentlemen, Tom.
Thank
All
you,
righty,
guys.
Sam, where are we?
We have an addition alteration, 20-99, Leo Mayer. Application to replace windows, trim, and siding on a structure located at 47 George Ryder Road.
Very good. The applicant is here, is that correct? Or
Yes, sir. This is Leo, and my business partner, Jonathan Farnham, is here also.
all righty.
I've got the information in front of me that we had sent it to each of you, where Leo has, at this point, doesn't have it, so I can take over. And he and I are both owners of 47 George Ryder, which, being a 1964 built building, still has the original windows. And it's more than time to replace those. We're looking to do that with the Anderson 400s, white vinyl window, 13 altogether, including the large picture window in the front there. They're the exact same size as what's there now, so no other alterations at all. Slide in, slide out. White vinyl trim, AZAC trim probably. And then on the left side, the other work we're looking to do is to re-shingle that left side of the building where the power comes in. Very thin there. So we want to get that done. And then having done that, we're going to look at the trim being replaced with plastic or AZAC as well. Those are the two big projects that we need to do with this property.
All righty. Let's see what the commission members have. Comments. Darcy?
I just have a couple questions about the windows. On the left-hand side, you have 8/1, and on the right, you have 6/1. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yes. And that's what's going to go back there?
That's exactly what's going to go back.
Okay, because the 8/1 wouldn't fit on the right-hand side?
Not without
without any
Not
other
doing more work.
additional
Yeah.
construction? Okay, all right. Okay, that was my only question. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, Sam?
I have no questions.
Okay, Bob?
Just one note in the Home Depot quote,
Yes.
for your information, they're saying they're 200 series.
There's one that's a 200 series, I believe, and and the remainder are 400.
Okay.
So
And that was a size issue, I think, that left-hand window with the 8 over one, they could not get that, I believe, in the 400 series.
Right.
Yeah, it looks like the picture window out front is a 200.
Yep. They're
Okay.
a couple of them
All
are 200 and the rest are 400s. Yep.
Okay.
Doug?
I have no questions.
Okay, Steve?
I have no questions.
All right, Dan Silver, I do have some questions. You said that you're going to replace the window trim?
Yes.
Light kind,
Correct.
but in AZAC?
Correct. Yes.
Okay, are you going to, so you're also going to install a historic sill, is that correct?
I believe so. Yes. Yeah.
That's generally what we ask. So you'd have 1x3, a 1x4 on the sides header, and a historic sill on the window on the lower edge of the window.
You actually probably caught us both off guard. We told the contractor, you are correct, Ian, that we wanted it exactly as that way. So I would assume so, but we will have to verify that, I suppose, obviously.
Okay. Alrighty.
I made a
Very good.
notation
Okay.
of that as well.
Alrighty. Do we have a motion?
Doug Grant will make a motion for application 20-099, Leo Mayer, application to replace windows, trim, and siding on the structure located at 47 George Ryder Road, as presented.
Darcy Sequin will second the motion.
Okay, motion has been made and seconded. Further discussion amongst commission members. Darcy?
No further questions.
Okay. Sam?
I have no further questions.
Okay, Bob?
Bob Burns, no further questions.
Okay, Doug?
Doug Grant, no further questions.
Steve?
I have no further questions.
Dan Silva has no further questions. All right, ready to vote? All right, Darcy?
Darcy Sequin in favor.
Okay. Sam?
Sam Stryver in favor.
Bob?
Bob Burns in favor.
Doug?
Doug Grant in favor.
Steve?
Steve DeBoer is in favor.
Dan Silva in favor as well. Very good. Passes unanimously. Excellent.
Thank
All
you.
right. You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good application. Sam, where does that leave us?
We have another addition, alteration, 20-105, Lois Castellana, application to replace 6 windows, sliding, and 1 door on the apartment located at 757 Main Street.
All righty.
Hi.
And who? There we go. There she is. All righty. How you doing?
Hi, good, thank you. How are you?
What problem are you causing now?
Not much, not much.
Not much? Okay. What are you proposing to do
So,
outside of what we know from what Sam read?
yeah, exactly that. We tackled the house, 759 Main Street, and now this is a small apartment that's attached to the house. So we just like to do pretty much the same thing. The same door that we replaced at the house, the same windows, just want to replace them. And of course, you can see the shingles and the clapboard, it's rotted, and we just want to replace it and freshen it up.
All righty. Well, let's see what the commission has to say.
Okay.
Steve?
I think it's a good idea. It should, you know, the house is nicely done, so the garage will be, you know, finish off the project very nicely.
Thanks.
All right. Doug?
I just had a couple of questions. So the siding is going to match the home, and you're going to have the clapboard as it currently sits?
Yes.
Okay. All right, that was my only question.
Okay, Bob?
One question follow up to Doug's is, are the shingles going to be, so it's going to be the clapboard on the sides And then the shingles will be replaced too, with shingles?
No, that will be replaced with clapboard.
So the whole building will be, the apartment will be clapboard?
Yes.
Okay. No further questions.
Okay, Sam?
I had a question about the door. The existing door is a 9-light 2-panel door, and this looks like a 6-panel 1-panel, a six light 1 panel. Are you going to leave it? Obviously, you're going to have the mahogany be exposed. Are you going to have a storm door like, or
I'm not sure if we're going to put the storm door.
well, if you do have a storm door, it should match you see the way your existing storm door sort of matches the,
Of course, yep.
so I'm just suggesting, if you do. It's quite all right to leave it, make sure that it's been weather stripped very well.
Yes, thank you.
That's all I have.
Okay, Darcy?
Darcy Sequin has no questions.
Okay, I do have one question. The clapboards are stained or painted at this time, right?
Yes, white.
Okay, and you're going to replace the shingles on the side of the house with clapboards, is that correct?
Correct.
What color and what are you going to put on those?
White.
White? Is it going to be stain or paint?
Stain or paint.
Whatever they want.
What,
About it.
you know, we hadn't thought about it. Do you have some?
Okay, all righty.
Whatever they say.
It's going to be white, whatever it is, right? Either a solid stain or a white paint?
You're correct.
Okay, very good. All righty, that's it. That's the question I have. All righty. Do we have a motion?
Doug Grant will make a motion for application 20-105. Lois Castellana, application to replace 6 windows, siding, and 1 door on the apartment located at 757 Main Street as presented.
Thank you.
Darcy Sequin will second the motion.
All right, let's see if we have any further questions or comments. Darcy,
No further questions.
Sam,
No further questions.
Robert,
No further questions, Bob Burns.
Doug,
Doug Grant, no further questions.
Steve DuBois,
Steve has no further questions.
nor does Dan Silver. So are we ready to vote? All right, Steve,
I vote to approve as proposed.
all right, all right. Doug,
Doug Grant approves.
okay, Bob Burns,
Bob Burns approves.
Sam Strivett,
Sam Stryber approves.
Dan, and Darcy,
Darcy Sequin approves.
as does Dan Silver. Okay, we got through that one. Very good. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, you bet. All righty. Sam,
Okay, we have 5 demolitions coming up.
all right.
20-100 Chatham Production LLC, application to demolish the structure located at 70 Depot Road.
All right, who have we got here, Sarah?
I believe Miss Victoria Clark is with us this evening to discuss all 5 of the applications.
Is Mr.
Hello, hi. Hi, it's Victoria Clark. We are proposing the demolition of this building because after research through the Chatham Historic Society archives, as well as various other historic databases such as Ancestry.com, we have been unable to find any information that verifies a lot of the information circulating about this building and its potential origins. While we do know it was moved onto the property in the 1930s, we have been unable to find any information about where it was exactly beforehand. And while the building is over minimally 90 years old. We do not believe that just because the structure is older, that it should be considered historic, as well as the building is in extreme disrepair, so the physical integrity of it has begun to disappear.
All right, I'm going to jump in here. Just prior to the meeting, I was discussing these demolitions with a staff member, and it was suggested that I inform the members as well as the applicants that this commission can either approve or deny the demolition. We can also impose a 1 day, a 2 year, whatever you want, delay on them. So that you don't just have to vote yes or no to demolish the building. Also, the applicant has a 14-day period in which to appeal to the Board of Selectmen if they choose to do so after our decision has been made. All right, so I think we've been down there and walked around. Is all the members, Steve, were you with us when we walked down there?
I wasn't with you, but I did walk the property myself.
Okay, very good. Doug, I know you were there, right?
Actually, I was not there, but I have walked the property.
Okay, well, very good. All right, well, I was wrong on that account. Very good. Okay, so, all right. Is the applicant aware that I was notified by previous Historic Commission chairman that this building was possibly an old ice cream store that was located on what, North Beach or down in front of the lights?
That's the folklore. We don't have any documentation to prove that. And when we were discussing this with the Mass Historic, they fought back against that very vehemently.
Part of the problem is, while there is a lot of information that has circulated through town about this building might have been an ice cream store or it's possible different locations, we have not been able to find any solid documentation that would prove this to us. So it's kind of based on the word of people through town and people who possibly lived there when they were at the Monomoy worked at the Monomoy Theater. So it's kind of hard to confirm what is true and what is not true.
Okay, well, given that, now I'll tell you what. I'm just going to inform the other members is that I have a hard time, and the commission has in the past shied away from allowing demolition prior to knowing what's going up on the lot. We have done it, but rarely. So, is there a reason why we don't know what's going up there or replacing it?
At the moment, we haven't figured out exactly what will go in that location. Ideally, we would like to get the approval so we can start to figure out what is possible at that plot of land. Obviously, this application is different than the remainder of them because the other buildings are on the former the Monomoy Theater property. So we would like to keep those two structures up, obviously, and as a result, we know that this is a different circumstance because the small piece of land, which I think is only a third of an acre, would have nothing on it. But we don't have imminent plans to demolish the buildings. We would just like to begin the process of exploring what is possible. And if this building is on the small piece of land, it is kind of difficult to plan what could go there.
Okay, and I'll tell you what the hazard is. The hazard is the same one that the building department has. They are reluctant to issue a foundation permit only because they don't want to do that, because if they do issue a permit for a basement only, there's no guarantee that what the people want could possibly be built on it. So there is that hazard. So if the building goes down, it doesn't necessarily mean you get what you want up. It'd be nice to know what's going on there.
Yeah, but we may not put anything up. We may not put anything up in the place of these buildings. We have on the front property, on the Main Street property, we have buildings that are falling apart. The building that was once the trade building that they built scenery in is ready to tip over. So we don't want to have structures there where we don't know what we're doing on the property. We may take those down, knowing that we may never put anything up there, that we may just maintain the two main buildings on the property.
So would it be fair to say that demolition delay would be possible and until the point at which you have established what you're going to be putting up?
I think some of those buildings may not last through the demolition delay anyway.
Structure,
We're not required to when.
I did recently go to this building, the 70 Depot Road building, with someone from the assessor's office, and having been inside it this October, having not been inside it since last fall when we took the H.B.D.C. as well as some members of the Historic Commission through that building in, I believe, November of 2019, it has gotten worse, just to further what he's saying, that they might just continue to decay, which is fine as long as the town is aware that they will most likely sit there, because we are not trying to revive this specific structure.
So, Mr. Chair, this is Sarah Clark. Currently, we're only looking at the demolition of the 70 Depot Road application.
Right. So, a lot of what I said does apply to the other applications, so I just want the members to be aware of the various paths they can take. So let's see what they have to say. Darcy?
I'm inclined to agree with you, Dan, on this particular building. I think it's the oldest structure on the property other than the theater. So I think we should know what's going to go there before the demolition. That's how I feel about it.
All right. Sam?
Okay, now, I think, I agree with Darcy completely. I think the linchpin for the saving of the other important historical buildings depends on introduction of housing to this particular property. And so far, we haven't seen a plan that attacks that housing in a more logical way than what we saw last fall. So, or was it a fall ago? And I think I'm eager to discuss some of the other buildings like the barn. I thought there was some, well, that's my feeling about this house, is that we should know what is planned. Of course, it's dilapidated and its historic roots are anecdotal at best. So, and I don't see a way to pull this into a cluster of the other historical buildings and have the applicant have to do a complete restoration of each one, and to what end, I don't know. So those are some of my thoughts about it.
All right. Robert?
Yeah, I agree. I think we should wait until we understand what is going to be at this site, what's going to go in replacement of this building. So I'm in favor of waiting on this particular application.
Okay, Doug?
Doug Wright, I agree with Darcy and Sam and Bob as well. I would not be in favor of approving this application until we know what's happening with this site.
Okay, Steve?
Yeah, I agree with everybody else. And I kind of wonder if the Historic Commission has been contacted about this, because although they might not have jurisdiction over these buildings, they may have different contacts or channels to somehow repurpose these buildings or salvage them in some way. And I would rather get an evaluation from them as to the significance, the historic significance of these buildings from them instead of from the applicant. So
okay, I believe that Sarah, you said there is what, Form Bs for these?
There are Form Bs for all of the property. which I can pull up if you'd like. It does reference an ice cream parlor. So if you give me just one moment to share my screen with that, I can pull up that application portion for you. I do know that the Historic Commission did conduct a site visit with the H.B.D.C. previously. This is the Form B that is in file with the Department of Community Development, showing it's circa 1895, and it had been a former ice cream parlor. I believe that the Historic Commission chair is on the call with us this evening. If he would like to comment on it.
Frank, do you have any comment?
Hi. Hi. It's Frank Messina. I'm chairman of the Historical Commission. I guess what I would like to say that you're absolutely correct. We don't have any jurisdiction of that particular building, but there was a Form B which was generated. Sarah, if you could go down a little bit, I'm not sure when it was though updated. If it was updated, down at the bottom of the form, it would say when it was done and who did it. There's no question, and I have to agree with Mr. Clark and Victoria, that the information is anecdotal. I would also say, 99% of most historical information is anecdotal, what's passed on. And, there's no direct record of the moves. There's no question. It's just what people have said over years as the Form Bs were completed. So I would say, we looked at the house with you, with the HBDC, as we looked at the other properties. And I have to agree with what the applicant is saying. The property is in very, very bad repair. So I really wouldn't comment specifically whether it should or should not be demolished, or how you folks make that decision. And I'm just speaking for myself. But we did provide an entree to Mr. Clark, to Victoria, for someone who was interested in the property, as we do with any home or property which is going to be demolished. We try to see if we can find someone to take it and reuse it. But the information I got back, that the applicant felt, the person who looked at the house, and Victoria probably could comment, that they just felt it was in just too poor a condition, to be reused and moved. It wasn't worthwhile to be moved. So I guess those are the only comments I can say. Absolutely right. Most of the information is anecdotal. Chatham doesn't have a good history in terms of its records going back, 70 or 80 years. But there is a Form B, and there was some significant historical character as it relates to the history of the house, but it was, in fact, folklore. I believe that didn't help you one bit, but I just thought I'd let you know.
Thank you, Frank, though, for chiming in there.
Mr. Silver, this is actually a Form B from the 1990s. So the information on here was done by a previous historic commission, but as Mr. Messina, Chairman Messina said, they did review the site, review the building, and he's given you his context of the state of the building.
Okay. Very good. Thank you. Frank, are you done? Is there anybody else that'd like to make a comment that is listening in tonight, besides the applicant and the members? No. I'd like to make one more comment.
Mr. Chairman, I have two hands raised.
I'm sorry?
Ms. Clark, the applicant, would like to speak again.
Certainly.
My comment was, you did you did catch it, but that Form B was from the 1990s and that the information was outdated. And I did want to point out that we have a copy of that Form B, and that Form B was rejected by the Mass Historic Commission for lack of evidence to back up the claims of its historic significance. That's just what I wanted to point out about it.
Very good. The other comment I would like to make, thank you, Ms. Clark, is that I don't know if it was another member here, is that I think the lack of an overall description or plan of what is being proposed for that entire property is hurting this. I not only want to know what's going to go in the place of this one particular house, if it is allowed to be demolished, but how that fits into the rest of the whole, the overall plan of what you're proposing down there. So I don't think we have enough information at all to really get to where you want to be to, just allow a demolition at this point. I would be in favor of allowing a demolition after a plan has been submitted and approved by this commission for the overall project of that you're proposing down there. Just see if whatever you're proposing for that particular parcel fits in with the rest of it.
Mr. Chair, we have Mr. Schreiber and the applicant that would also like to speak.
All right, Sam?
Yes. Sarah, when did we do the site visit? Was it last fall?
It was last fall, yes.
Okay. Last fall, Victoria presented a site plan that sort of gave an idea of what they plan to do in terms of the use of the whole site. And it was general. There wasn't a lot of detail to it. Then a couple of months later, there was a town meeting that they had to try to get a spot zoning amendment. And that was, as I understand it, was refused, was turned down. And so since then, and I think at that time, the same site plan idea was presented. And, but it didn't look like it had any improvement based on the comments that they must have gendered from the planning board and from the zoning board of appeal and from staff and all the different places that we get input in our projects. And then you go back and you improve your plan based on all the input. And here we are, how many months later, and we haven't seen an updated plan. And it would be something that they would be very interested on. If they're just waiting for everything to cave in so they can do whatever they want, I think that's misguided. The way I've found success in getting plans through is that you introduce them to all the different stakeholders, including the public, and you gather all that information together and try to get consensus.
Thank you, Sam. Ms. Clark there?
Victoria has her hand up.
Victoria or Sarah Clark?
Okay.
Sarah, is Ms. Clark there?
This is great.
Miss Victoria and Gregory Clark are still on the call, yes.
Oh, I thought you said that she wanted to make a comment.
Her hand is
Yeah,
raised,
yeah.
so if you can just remember to lower your hand so that way I can sort of keep track of things. Once you've done your comments, I would appreciate
Here
it.
we go.
Thank you.
Sarah, I have a question for you. So we have applied to demolish these 4 buildings. We're not saying we're putting anything back up in their place. Our current plan does not include renovating those buildings. We're proposing to keep the 2 main buildings on the property, and that is it. So we're not going to submit another plan right now for putting things back in their place. We're asking for the permission to demolish them. And as the chairman said earlier, you know, they have the right to give us a demolition delay. But I think what you're asking us for is outside of the scope. You're asking us to come back with almost as if we go to the planning board first and then come to you with a new plan. If we decide that we don't have a plan to put something back in the place of those buildings, then we take the risk of taking them down. We don't put anything back there. We don't plan on putting anything back in the place of those buildings on Main Street. I can tell you that definitely. And out back, we're not sure if we do at this point.
I think the confusion might be stemming from when we came last fall and even this past town fall meeting, our plan was one giant plan that incorporated everything together. And at the moment, that is not the plan we are currently moving forward with. So I think that might be where some confusion is coming from, that it's not going to be, we're trying to build condos to then pay to redo the theater. We do not know what we're trying to do, and we're not planning on trying to do a simultaneous construction of both elements at the same time. We're trying to figure out what is allowed and what isn't allowed and how to best move forward with what is allowed given the GB2 zoning, as well as like what we think would be beneficial for the community through what is already allowed within our rights as landowners.
Yeah, we could decide to wait 2 years and come back to town with the plan that we previously submitted, or we may just decide to convert these buildings into a different use that's allowed in the GB2 zone.
So, Mr. Chairman, this is Sarah Clark.
Yes.
We are looking at the specific demolition of 70 Depot Road.
Yes.
Whether they're looking to propose a different use or eliminate the existing use, unfortunately, that's not in the jurisdiction of this commission. That would be the planning board and or the zoning board of appeals, depending on what they're looking to do.
Well, I do have a question that would be relevant, I think, to what's going up there, if I may, to the Clarks. Is where were you proposing to put the other access to Depot Street? Was it right there?
I believe so, yes. When we were planning on realigning the property lines, that was planning on being the entrance.
Okay, so what you're asking us to do at this point is you're asking us for permission to take down this building with absolutely no idea, or you're not having any idea whatsoever of what might be going up in that area. Is that correct?
Correct.
And that would also hold true of the other demolition permits? Although we were only talking of this one?
Yeah, correct. Correct.
Yeah, the other demolition.
So we have
permit is
no
still
idea
coming
what
on
the
property.
architectural style is? Is that correct?
The architectural style of whatever we would put up would be obviously within the H.B.D.C guidelines.
So the two buildings that we're keeping on the property, we have to restore to your guidelines and the National Park Service's guidelines.
So, members of the board and the applicant, we really need to just focus on the 70 Depot Road property.
Right.
Because that's what the application is for at this moment.
Okay, well, very good. Let's move along with that then. Let's find out if anybody has any further questions, because I think there is a consensus here. Darcy, do you have any questions, further questions?
I don't have any questions, no.
Okay, Sam, do you have any questions?
I just want to state that this is, this is the most unusual large-scale project that has been approached in this way, with a plan first and then no plan. And I find that very disturbing, that you haven't been working aggressively to come up with a plan for this property that would meet all the consensuses that you've heard to date. And that's my concern.
Mr. Silver?
Yes.
I I do need to say that we are not looking at what had previously been brought to special town meeting or anything like that. We have to specifically look at just the demolition of this building. We can't look at anything that may have happened in the past. We just need to focus on the application before us at this moment.
All right, well, I thought his statement was relevant to that particular building and the lack of any plan of what might be going up in there and how it fits in the overall picture. So, and I think that is specific to that particular location. Bob?
Yeah, I guess the only comment I would make is, Sarah, as Clark, as you said, that what's disconcerting is the fact that last fall we did see a plan. It wasn't a final plan, but there was a plan that showed the whole complex and some of the buildings being repurposed. For example, the scene shop being moved next to the theater to be renovated. So I'm just a little bit, I agree with Sam, concerned that we had maybe a plan. Now we don't have a plan, and now we're demoing the
well, as
building.
Sarah says, Bob, we have to stick to this particular one.
Right.
So no, there is no plan for this particular location.
Yeah, so I have no further questions. I'm still.
Okay. All right. Doug, any particular questions on this particular application for?
Doug Bratton does not have any more questions.
Okay, Steve?
No, I have no further questions. I think without a definitive plan, I think I don't think it's a good idea to move forward with the demolition of this.
Okay, all right, do I have a motion? You can make a positive motion if you wish.
Mr. Silver,
Yeah.
Darcy
Yes.
has her hand up, and there's
Oh, did she?
there's also a comment from the audience that states if the Depot Street building is taken down, it sounds like it will simply be an empty lot.
Okay, Darcy?
I have a suggestion that perhaps I know where this commission is going, and I'm going along with it, but my suggestion is to continue this application until when they can further supply us with something. Is it going to be an empty lot? Is it going to be rebuilt? That would be my suggestion, to continue it for 60 days or something, whatever they thought they would need. I don't know how the commission feels about that.
Well, I'm going to make a comment. I wouldn't continue it for 60 days. I would, again, as I said, my suggestion would be to continue it until the point where they come up with a comprehensive plan. I mean, sooner or later, they're going to do the whole thing. And like Sam says, they haven't come up with one yet. So I feel very uncomfortable approving a demolition of anything down there without a comprehensive plan.
Well, let's ask the applicants if 60 days would do it for them to get us a definitive plan, whether something is going to be up there or not.
The applicant does have their hand raised.
Yeah.
So they should have the opportunity to speak.
So I'm glad you said that, Sarah, because I can't see them. I don't know why.
If you click the little people, it shows the participants in the meeting.
We don't have video up, that's why, because our computer doesn't allow it.
Oh, goodness, okay. I'm keeping my eye on it for you.
Okay. Sarah, we're not.
Yeah, I apologize for that.
We're not requesting a continuance. We will not have a plan submitted for what we're doing with the property out on Main Street in the next 60 days. We don't intend to have that for a while. So
I also would like to point out, everyone seems to be saying we aren't working on it, and just because we aren't sharing what we are trying to do at the moment does not mean we are not working on it. Just because of the way the media has portrayed us so far, we're trying to keep some things under wraps because there has been a lot of negativity surrounding the project to begin with. So we're not trying to advertise what is happening until we get further enough along in the organization and the planning process.
yes, so we'd like to have the vote on these demolitions because that will help us decide where we move forward. We know we're not going to use these buildings. These are the buildings that no matter what we do on that property, we have no intention on reusing them. So if a demolition delay is assigned, then that will just move the process down further, that's all. But we don't want to delay it. Okay?
So, Mr. Chairman and members of the board, with that being said, I would remind you of a certain section of our rules and regulation, appeals to the Board of Selectmen. Any person aggrieved by the ruling of the H.B.D.C. may take an appeal to the Board of Selectmen within 14 calendar days of the date appearing on the H.B.D.C.'s written decision on the appropriateness. The Board of Selectmen shall hear such appeal promptly, and the decision of the board shall be determined by the majority vote of the members of the board. And that comes directly from the H.B.D.C. Guidelines and procedures.
Okay, and I will remind all the members, plus the applicants, that we have never been overruled by the selectmen that I'm aware of. So anyways, but they do have that right, and that's, you know, I would certainly encourage them to take advantage of it. So we need a motion. Do we have
And the
as I said,
motion
you can-
needs to be in the affirmative.
Yes, it needs to be the affirmative, and you don't have to vote for it. So I would appreciate a affirmative motion.
Doug Grattan will make a motion for application 20-100 Chatham Productions LLC, application to demolish the structures located at 70 Depot Road as presented.
Darcy Sequin will second the motion.
Okay, motion is made and seconded. Further discussion among commission members. Darcy?
No further questions.
Okay, Sam?
Well, I find this method that they've said, their method for getting a successful approval of this project to be very spurious, and I think they're concerned about people who are on the sidelines saying things like they don't have a scene shop and stuff like that. So let me ask just one little question about, well, I got to stay with this thing. I would be more, I would deny the motion.
All right. Bob?
No further questions?
Okay, Doug Grattan?
Doug Grattan, no further questions.
Steve?
Steve DeBoer has no further questions.
Nor do I. So you folks ready to vote? Darcy?
No.
Okay, Sam?
No.
Robert?
No.
Doug Grattan?
No.
Steve DeBoer?
Steve DeBoer votes no.
Dan Silver votes no. All right, thank you. All right, moving on to the next application, Sam.
(20-101) Chatham Productions LLC, application to demolish the shed structure located at 776 Main Street.
All right, what can the applicant tell us about this? I do remember that structure.
Well, this structure, like the rest of them, is not, we're not sure if it was built or if it was moved onto the property, but it appeared on a plot map in the 1950s at some point in time. So it's estimated to be around 70 years old. If Sarah pulls up the application, as you can see in the pictures, the building is rotting from the outside in certain portions. It is in disrepair, and unsimilarly to the Depot Road, there's no information about it. And while it is, again, an older building, it is not visible from the main street. It is not associated with any specific historic events or persons. It was used most recently in the last 30 to 40 years, I believe, as storage, as well as like a bunk room where they had beds in for cast members to sleep. So it's not, in our opinion, in the eyes of the importance regarding the theater as a whole, it is not historical regarding the history specifically of the entire of what's historic there. It's just another structure that has gone into disrepair and is sitting on the property rotting.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Let's find out what the commission members think. Darcy?
It looks like it's in really disrepair. When we walk through it, I don't see any significant historic value in this building at all. So I have no questions.
Okay, Sam?
Same comments about lack of a proposed plan. Every project for demolition, every proposal for application for demolition, we've required a look at what will be proposed, and we saw that this fall. Having done that, I would be in favor of this demolition, as I would be in favor of 750, but without a plan or some idea of how they plan to pull this project off, I would be voting no.
Okay. Bob?
I have no questions.
Okay. Doug?
I have no questions.
Steve?
I have no questions. I think this is probably the least desirable of all the buildings that we're going to talk about, and I don't know if it was addressed at the warrant at the special town meeting. I don't know if this was included in all of that. So, but without a definitive plan of what's going to happen for the entire parcel, I'd be reluctant to vote to demolish this building without an idea of what's going to go in its place.
Okay, very good. All righty then. Do we have a motion in the affirmative?
Doug Grant will make a motion. Application 20-101, Chatham Productions LLC.
Excuse me.
Mr. Chairman, we do have the applicant that wishes to speak.
All right, fine, sure. Yep. Please.
I just want to address the issue that they keep bringing up. We do not propose to put anything back in the place of where these buildings are located. So normally, I understand your confusion that if I'm proposing to take down a house in town to build a new house on it, I would have a plan to you showing the proposed new house. We're telling you we are not putting a house or any other structure back in this location. So there will never be a plan that will satisfy your question. Nothing is going there. Those buildings, that will come down with no intention of putting another building back up there. Our plan that we submitted a year ago that showed us doing the major expansion of the property, that is not going to happen. So we're cleaning up the property and getting rid of the buildings that are falling apart, and then we're going to come back to submit a plan for the restoration of the two main buildings. They're not going to be expanded to the point of what you saw before.
Mr. Chair and the commission,
Yes.
I've highlighted on my screen, as you can see, just the shed structure,
Right,
which is currently under review by the commission.
yes, I understand. All right.
I'd like to make a motion for application 20-101, Chatham Productions LLC. Application to demolish the shed structure located at 776 Main Street as presented.
Darcy
All right.
Sequence seconds the motion.
All right, we have a motion made and seconded, so we'll see. Darcy, do you have any further questions? Comments?
No, I have no further questions.
Okay, Sam?
No, I having just heard what his point is, and I was completely understanding that none of these buildings that are proposed to be demolished will have a new building built right back on it, on the foundation. I understand that, but But our understanding about demolishing this place, which had a unified purpose, is being, that all of these particular structures contributed to that purpose. And when you demolish them, then we're concerned that what kind of purpose the property will be put to. And we want to know that that's consistent. But if you say, and strictly speaking, you're correct, you're not planning on putting a building back on this spot, and the same for all the other applications. But our concern for wiping the slate clean here has to not leave a vacuum, and we would like to know what that purpose, a systemic purpose for the property is. That's what we're holding out for. Otherwise, I'm okay with the demolition of this building at 75.
Okay, Bob?
No further questions.
Okay, Steve? Doug, I'm sorry.
Doug has no further questions.
Steve?
I have no further questions.
Okay, and I do have a comment. I agree with Sam, as I understand that they're not proposing to put anything on that particular space, but it does open up an area where something else could be put in conjunction with the other open areas. So they can build by right. So this would just leave more open property for them to do something by rights. So
Well,
until we know what that
even if it
is.
was by right, by zoning, Mr. Chairman, it would still be within the HBD's jurisdiction, and any new construction would have to be approved by this commission.
That is correct. And hopefully by that time they'd have a plan. All right, so any further questions amongst commission members? I guess not. No? All right. Ready to vote? Darcy?
I'm going to vote in favor of this demolition.
All right. Sam?
No.
Okay. Bob?
No.
Doug?
No.
Steve?
No.
Dan Silva, no as well. All right, moving on to the next
Okay.
application.
This is 20-102, Chatham Productions LLC. Application to demolish the refreshment center located at 776 Main Street.
Yeah, this is the applicant?
Yep.
The application is self-explanatory?
Sarah, do we have a picture of this particular building for the public?
Can everyone see the rendering I have on my screen?
Yep, it's there. It's beautiful. Thank you. All right, so I'm assuming if the applicant wants to go ahead, please do.
I mean, it's the same thing that,
Self-explanatory.
it's the same thing as the previous, it's the same goal. This building is directly behind the Washington Taylor House, so no one can see it. It is just, it's evident by the pictures, and at this point, it does seem that the board is very opposed to giving us an approval unless they know exactly what is happening with the property.
Which we think is outside of what this application is about.
So at this point, would it just make sense to
combine them all and let you vote on them all at once?
and deny all of them, and then I guess we'll just have to wait however long to come back when we have a plan, because it doesn't.
Yeah, we're not coming back with that.
Oh, no.
So,
It just
so
seems.
Sarah, can they combine the next three to save time?
So, provided the clerk reads the next three applications,
Actually, Sarah.
or do you want to
Yeah.
vote on them individually, Mr.
Yeah.
Chair?
No, I do have a problem with one of the structures on the that they're proposing to take down. I don't want that included in the others.
So, currently we
It's the
have
old Citgo station.
the apartments.
Yeah.
Okay, so currently we have the refreshment center, the apartments, and the scene shop before you. The other two applications have been denied. So it would be before the board if the board wanted to review the refreshment center and the scene shop in tandem, they could, and take the apartment structure.
I think we ought to just go down through them. I
If you just want to do each by itself, that's perfectly acceptable.
I think we should do each by itself. We're pretty well aware, as she said, of what's going on here, so I don't think it's going to take that long. The clerk has already read that application, so right?
Mr. Grattan has asked to make a motion for the refreshment center application.
This is Doug Grattan. I'd like to make a motion for application 20-102, Chatham Productions LLC, application to demolish the refreshment center located at 776 Main Street.
Darcy Sequin seconds the motion.
All right, we have that. Let's see if we got any questions. Darcy?
No questions.
Sam?
No questions.
Robert?
No questions.
Doug?
Doug Grattan, no questions.
Steve?
Steve DeBoer, no questions.
Okay, I haven't got any questions either. Okay, very good. Ready to vote? Darcy?
No.
Sam?
No.
Robert?
No.
Doug?
No.
Steve?
No.
Dan Silver, no. Okay. All right, our next one is what? 20-0103?
20-103 Chatham Productions LLC, application to demolish the apartment located at 776 Main Street.
Okay, does the applicant have any comments to make?
Yes.
Okay.
I would tell you that is not an apartment. There is no kitchen in that building. Just like some of the other buildings that are qualified, that building is not a legitimate apartment. And go back and look at the reasons why the Board of Health shut down this property as you make these decisions.
Okay, very good, sir. And I would like to make a comment that I don't know if it was the town took the time and money to move this building from the location where it was at the parking lot or little park located out on 28 and moved it back to this location, put it on a new foundation. So at that time, when they were doing that park, they felt that this building was significant enough to spend the time and energy to move it back to where it was. So it apparently is not just an old shack that someone put out in the woods. So I'd like to make that point.
I would also like to point out that it was meant to be used in a fire drill as practice when it was moved. It was going to be burned down by the town as practice. And I know obviously it is older. It has significance being one of the first gas stations, but it was completely renovated on the exterior, that the photo does not match the architectural style that it originally was. So while the structure is original, the exterior does not match what once made it so historic, which I don't know if that was done by the Steinler family. And I'm assuming that it was because they were it was under their ownership that this happened. But I do think that is important to point out that it no longer matches the exterior, and the interior has changed greatly.
Isn't there a Form B that states exactly that on this?
I don't think the Form B is attached to this, but
No, but I mean, with the Form B that the town submitted.
yes.
If you give me just 1 second to stop sharing this screen, I can pull up the Form B for this particular property. So everyone should now be able to see the Form B for this particular property. It does show the Washington Taylor House, the Monomoy Theater. There is little to be shown for the former gas station that is on the property. Did anyone have any questions?
No? No questions from the board. Doug, would you like to make a motion? We'll move right on.
Yeah, application, I'll make a motion for application 20-103 Chatham Productions LLC. Application to demolish the apartment located at 776 Main Street as presented.
Darcy Sequin seconds the motion.
Okay, motion is made and seconded. Further comments amongst the commission. Darcy?
No comments.
Okay, Sam?
No comments.
Bob?
No comments.
Doug?
No comments.
Stephen?
I have no comments.
Dan Silva has no further comments, so we're ready to vote. Darcy?
No.
Sam?
No.
Robert?
No.
Doug?
No.
Steve?
No.
Dan Silva, no. Okay, folks, we'll move on to the next one.
20-104, Chatham Productions LLC, application to demolish the scene shop located at 776 Main Street.
I guess regarding this building, I know we had talked about trying to save it, but over the course of the last year, as seen, I believe in some of the pictures, the building is beginning to bow and bend in ways as it is just original wood. There's no insulation or anything. And we looked into the possibility of having it moved, but the structure is just so unsteady that it would not survive a move.
It sits on a slab on grade. It doesn't have a foundation, and the walls are rotting at the bottom. The siding is rotting through, and the ridge has shifted both in a wave dimension, front to back, and it dropped in the middle also. So to structurally, you basically would have to structurally rebuild it. You're not moving it.
Okay, very good. Alrighty. Let's see, I guess we'll go right to, is there a motion?
Doug Grant will make a motion for application 20-104, Chatham Productions LLC, application to demolish the scene shop located at 776 Main Street.
Okay,
Darcy
is there a second?
will second the motion.
Okay, motion is made and seconded. Darcy, any further questions or comments?
No questions. No
Okay,
comments.
Sam?
Yes, I wondered whether the applicants have made any effort to stabilize the inside of the building.
No.
So we knew 6 months ago, or even longer, that this building was suspect to, and yet you made the suggestion at the time that you thought you could save it and move it to another position on the lot and use it. And that was captivating. That had some appeal to us. And I understand all the reasons why contractors and owners would prefer to demolish and build new. I know all of those statements, but I've also seen contractors, when denied, pitch in and do a fantastic job of restoration. Now, I can understand. Maybe we shouldn't have been misled in the beginning if you weren't going to do any remedial work in the meantime, just to make sure that could be accomplished. Or you don't, in your future plans, you don't have anything now to house in this barn. But I think that if we knew a little bit about what you were planning to do on this property, then we could make a contribution. But now you've given us a on off, a no, yes, no. So my vote would be no.
Okay. Bob?
I agree with Sam. I have no further questions.
Okay. Doug?
Doug has no further questions.
Steve?
Yeah, I'd just like to comment that this building was specifically called out in the warrant that was presented to the town for vote at the special town meeting as being restored in the original design and finish. And now, in a month's time, since the beginning of October, this building has now become obsolete and derelict. And I don't know what changed between the time that the warrant was submitted to the town to vote on and now. I don't know why it was good enough then and it's not good enough to keep now. So
This building has never been portrayed as being good enough. We've said all along, and anyone that looked at it, the building is falling apart. We will have to redo the entire roof, redo the entire siding. The structure is rotted at the bottom. There is no foundation. We would have to rebuild it completely, even under the plan that we submitted a year ago. So you're putting words in our mouths that we were going to completely relocate that and as is. It was told, you can't move the building, you have to take it down and rebuild it. So let's be clear on that.
Well, okay, but I'm reading from the warrant that was presented to the public, and that's not what I was led to believe.
All right, Doug?
Doug has no questions.
All righty. Steve, we're all done?
Yes, I have no further questions.
Okay. Doug, do we have a motion?
I made a motion. I'll reiterate. It's application 20-104, Chatham Productions LLC, application to demolish the scene shop located at 776 Main Street.
Darcy Sequin will second the motion again.
All right, motion has been made and seconded. Further comments? Darcy?
No comment.
Sam?
No comments.
Robert?
No comments.
Doug?
No comments.
Steve?
No further comments.
Nor do I. Dan Silver have any further comments? Ready to vote? Darcy?
Darcy Sequin votes no.
Sam?
Sam Strybert votes no.
Robert?
Bob Burns votes no.
Doug?
Doug Grattan votes no.
Steve?
Steve DeBoer votes no.
Dan Silver votes no. So that's it, folks. Thank you. Thank you very much for getting through that. All right. Ratification of administrative approvals. Is that correct, Sam?
We have administrative approvals exemption 20-097, Robert White. Application for administrative approval to replace the siding and shutters on the dwelling located at 1996 Main Street.
Okay, who do we have look at this, Sarah?
I did.
Administrative approval.
I
Darcy
believe
did.
Darcy and Bob took a look at this.
Okay,
It is work that had previously been done, and they have just applied for an application for administrative approval.
okay, very good. Alrighty then. Do we have a motion?
Doug Grant will make a motion for application 20-097, Robert White, application for administrative approval to replace the siding and shutters on the dwelling located at 1996 Main Street as presented.
Do we have a second?
Darcy Seacon will second the motion.
Okay, motion's made and seconded. Any comments, Darcy?
No comment.
Sam?
No comments, Sam Stryver.
Robert? Okay.
Burns, no comment.
Doug?
Doug Grant, no comment.
Steve?
Steve DeBoer, no comments.
Dan Silver has no comments. Ready to vote, folks? Darcy?
In favor?
Sam?
Sam Stryver in favor.
Robert?
Bob Burns in favor.
Doug?
Doug Grant in favor.
Steve?
Steve DeBoer is in favor.
Dan Silver in favor. Excellent. All right, any other business, any public comments at all, Sarah? Anybody else
So
there?
while we do still have several members of the public on our call, I did want to remind the commission that we are still seeking 2 members for the Preservation Awards Committee. So if you would like to join, please contact me so I can contact Chairman Messina and let him know which of the 2 members from our commission would like to join. I see Mr. Messina has his hand raised, so I'm guessing he would like to comment.
Oh, I did see that little hand beside his name. Isn't that cute?
Raised hand feature.
Thank you.
Wow, that's new.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Sam. Dan, I appreciate it. Very simply, you know, the Chatham Preservation Awards Committee has been around for a long time, but 20-some years, and I know you have some new members of your committee, your commission, and we just recently attempted to reorganize for 21. We do have a couple of applications which we approved last year, but we didn't have an award ceremony because it was only 2 and not enough to hold the whole, you know, a full ceremony that we do. I would hope that we could get 1 or 2 of your members to join us. We literally have like 2 or 3 meetings all year, and the meetings are usually quick, and we're pretty well organized. The town of Chatham, in the form of Ms. Donovan, Katie Donovan, and Michelle Clark, have taken over most of the administrative work. So the basis of the committee membership is to review applications and make a determination that, yes, we feel it's worthy of an award. I did share with you, Dan and Sarah, and if you would share with the other members, I'd appreciate it. And if we can get a couple of people to join us, I would appreciate it. The H.B.D.C has been part of it since the beginning. And I know Sam was a member for many years. And unfortunately, I'm still here. So I'm looking for some new blood to help out. So again, thank you very much.
Yeah, and you're doing it on Zoom too, right? So.
Yes, right. If we have a ceremony this year, it'll probably be Zoom. But you know, we've gotten over the years. I think it's helped us form a better relationship with some of our contractors and developers. You know,
I agree.
They're all award-winning architects, so I think it helps. And last but not least, if you or the members of your commission think about some homes which were finished in the last 10 years that you've been part of, which you think they did a really neat job in restoring it or preserving it, and it's worthy, you know, to think about it.
Right.
Well, thank you very much. Sorry to drag it on, guys.
No problem, Frank. Always a pleasure to have you on board.
Thank you.
Take care. Sarah?
So I would ask that any members that are interested, please let me know. That way I can contact Chairman Messina and we can get you on board with the scheduling of the next Zoom meeting for the Preservation Award Committee. And I don't believe there is anyone else in the audience that would like to speak. So on that note, we would entertain a motion.
Doug Grant will make a motion to end the meeting at this time.
Darcy Sequin seconds the motion.
All right. Take a vote. Darcy?
In favor, Darcy Sequin.
Sam?
Sam Stratford in favor.
Robert,
Bob Burns in favor.
Doug,
Doug Grattan in favor.
Stephen,
Steve DeBoer's in favor.
Dan Silver in favor. Folks, I thank you so much, and we'll see you in 14 days at the Selectmen's.
We're officially adjourned at 6 p.m. Mr. Chairman, if you could please send me your approval for signing all of these applications.